What's good, y'all? So, I have now seen the Michael movie twice now. So, in a sense, I just kind of wanted to give my perspective from a dancing perspective and also just a very casual movie fan perspective. So, first off, I just want to say that it was actually a really good movie. It's obviously, very obviously, part one. Come on now. That man's life is way too full, way too, I ain't gonna say way too long because of the fact that, he only lived about late 50s, early 60s. But at the same time, I can definitely say that the visual, I'm sorry, the, I can definitely say that the way they depicted his life from 1968 to 1988, I feel like they did a really good job. Um, Everything from the visuals to the graphics, the way they did like the year, like showcasing what year it was before they went into the actual scene, the color grading. Bro, hold on. Before I even get into like other stuff, because the CGI was also really good too, as far as on the animals. Bro, the actors that they chose for this, perfect. I don't care what nobody say. The actors for this was perfect. Um, Nia Long, I could like, bro. I ain't gonna lie, like choosing her as a young Katherine Jackson, fire. Coleman Domingo, he did a great freaking job as Joe. He genuinely made you dislike Joe, and I think that was probably kind of the point. But even more than that, Jafar, bruh, Jafar did great, man. He sounded just like Michael. He did great with the dancing. You could tell he genuinely put a lot of time into it to make sure that I ain't even gonna say perfected his uncle's moves, but that he got them down to at least to where like it looked good enough to portray Michael. I feel like he's done the best portrayal of Michael out of any other actor. We're not even gonna talk about them past biopics that people try to do, especially not Flex Alexander. I'm never acknowledging that. Uh, but to kind of get through this a little bit quicker, from a creative point of view and a dancer point of view, I love the direction that they took. Like for instance, like when they showed the poppers, who were, gang bangers from the bad video, they showed how that idea came to fruition and um, just different times they were showing Michael actually studying somebody on TV as he was growing up, like a bunch of different people who was doing like the different dances essentially that he would actually reenact on stage, just kind of showcasing that Michael was just so talented. He could see something, and I can speak from a dancing perspective. I can essentially do the same thing to where like if I see somebody do something and I practice it enough, I can do it too. Probably the only thing I just naturally have not learned yet is like breakdancing, as far as like b-boying essentially. So I definitely understood him on that because anytime he would be in the booth and the song starts playing and he gotta start singing or whatever, and he's trying so hard not to dance, but he can't help it. I understand that. I 100% understand that feeling. Um, this movie also showed me that I was born in the wrong time period. I very much believe that. Like I was born 1999, but bro, when I tell y'all like just looking at like just how everything was going down, it just reminded me out of all the information that I already know about Michael Jackson and all the kind of stuff like that, it just constantly reminds me like, bro, like seeing how everything just was back then, well, music wise, obviously for black people is a whole another story. We ain't gonna get into that though. We're not getting into that. But music wise, that's all I meant by that, by the way, as far as me being born in the wrong time period. Uh, but I would say, as far as this movie, I feel like they highlighted some key moments in his career. It was really just from the first Jackson 5 album to Bad. That was like a 20-year period, 1968 to 1988, and that's where the movie ends at as well. So I think like them not touching on any controversy in the first movie, because it's just the first movie. Other than the controversy with his father, I think that would they didn't really touch on all the controversy with his father. I think that obviously like him having other bad things that happened during that time, I think they kind of chose a little bit of a safe route, but I think it was a good route because I feel like there's also other biopics that talk about the same stuff, if we're being real. But I have a hot take before I get into some of my last points. I believe, and like I said, it's a hot take, but his father beat greatness into him to where he became obsessed with perfection and being the greatest. And I was actually having a talk with my friend after we watched it, because I watched it by myself the first time, and then I watched it with my friends the second time. And I know she was even saying like, yeah, like you wonder if he had a loving home, would he have been as great as he was? And the answer is probably no. Unfortunate they had to go through that, but at the same time, it's like we see what we got from it. My last few points. I had some friends who told me they cried. I didn't cry, and it's probably just because I knew a bunch of the stuff that was gonna happen anyway. Um, if you know a lot of Michael's life, you are going to know what happens next because it's Michael Jackson. Simple as that. I had a friend tell me and her was having a conversation on Instagram or whatever. She was just like, I ain't like the ending, this, that, and the third. And I was just like, honey, I'm like, it's part two. I mean, it's part one. Like, they got more coming. Like, I think they pretty much done confirmed that part two is on the way. But yeah, if you did not like how this movie went, I think that is just like, you gotta understand this is just part one. That man's life was so full of a lot of events, a lot of things that happened. There's still a lot of controversy that they haven't been able to get into yet. This is all just like literally from the Jackson 5 first album to Bad. So you gotta think that's only 20 years and they covered it in 2 hours. So this is probably part one of like 3, maybe 4, depending on how they go about the rest of it. If they do like every 20 years or something like that, then it'll be from like, the next movie would be up until his death, basically, from 1988 to 2008, which he died in 2009. So, so I would just say, go into this with a mindset of let's see how they depict his life. Not necessarily going into it expecting a bunch of things you didn't know, expecting a bunch of they need to have every little detail right and everything. Just go into it with a mindset of like, let's just see how they depict him. And I think that they did awesome. Everything about that movie looked fantastic, and I think that I am looking forward to part two. If I had to give this movie a rating, personally, I would give it at the lowest a 7.5 and at the highest a 9. But if I'm really thinking about what I want to give it, it's probably gonna be an 8. I personally say it was an 8. Some people probably feel like that's too low. Some people might feel like that's too high. I don't know, but that's just my score. I'm sticking with it. You don't like it, make your own review. I love y'all, but God loves you more. That's my review of Michael from a creative and a dancer's point of view, and just a casual movie fan point of view. That's it. That's all. Deuces.